You know, sometimes you can feel something not just right.
At an April 1954 closed-door meeting, the Johnson City School Board voted not to renew Langston High School Principal Neil Armstrong's contract.
I knew the superintendents, and I knew their attitudes.
The move came at the request of Superintendent John Arentz. One member voted against that measure. The black community didn't take the news sitting down, including students Mary Anderson, Jean Neal, and Secretary Larice Cox.
At that time, we didn't know why, and that's the reason that, you know, we were going to try to find out and fight that, and because it seemed unfair.
We didn't know what to do and what to expect, but we did know that we did not want another principal. We wanted Mr. Armstrong.
Over nearly 20 years at the helm, Armstrong had led Langston to its status as the only A-rated black school between Roanoke, Virginia, and Knoxville, Tennessee.
A lot of them left and went to college, and some of them that are still living today have made good careers, and most everybody that came out of Langston had a very good education.
The only reason the school board gave was a failure to maintain discipline. Larice Cox was the school's secretary and had been a student of Armstrong's and said that was a weak charge.
Someone prayed, and one of the kids clapped, and they made a big issue out of that, as if he couldn't discipline. Now, he'd been there 19 years, no discipline problem.
He would have stopped us, but he was our principal, and we knew that he was, whatever they were doing, it was wrong.
Yeah.
The striking students endured some taunts, and Arentz threatened to withhold seniors' diplomas.
They threw things out the window. They called us names, you know, as we were walking.
Well, as I say, when they got up to the superintendent's office, he threatened them, just like I thought he would, but fortunately they had not put their foot on the school ground, so they couldn't get him for that.
Society was about to change. Brown versus Board of Education would be decided 1 month later, and Armstrong was a well-trained, successful educator. Some suspected the school board didn't want him in an integrated system, but a number of white citizens spoke on his behalf.
There were some that could see what was going on and were not in favor. That was, you know, we have, you know, a group of people on both sides who are just nonchalant. Whatever will be, will be.
Armstrong and others had also pressed for more equality in curriculum and equipment, including typing classes, which weren't approved.
The superintendent told him that it would be a waste of time and money because there would be no jobs available in Johnson City. And Mr. Armstrong said, we're not training children to live in Johnson City. We're training them to live in the world. I never will forget those words. And when I think about how many of our Langston people are all over this country doing well, they were not trained to live in Johnson City.
They didn't consider us able to learn, or we just, like it said, that we were limited. But Mr. Armstrong saw more for us than just domestic workers and just janitors and dishwashers and all that. He wanted us to go as high as we could go. And he worked for that, and that was his main interest of trying to get extra curriculum for us.
Cox, Anderson, and Neal say the protests, though unsuccessful, were worth it.
It gave them an idea that we weren't just sitting back and saying, okay, this is okay.
And Armstrong's career, well, it just kept moving forward.
He had a few hours on his doctorate, so he left here, he went to Chicago and finished that, and then he became the head of the continuing education at AT&T.
In Johnson City, Tennessee, Jeff Keeling, News Channel 11.